Hey Shini, how you doing?
Hi, James.
I
How are you?
I love it. I love the kind of like flicky hair, look back sort of thing. Like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. I mean, I was just doing nothing. You called my name, so I had to look around.
I love it. So, how are you this morning? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling energized? I know obviously we're in sort of a pandemic. So some people is up, some people are down. Like, what are you feeling today? What's your vibe?
Well, James, I was driving for about 5 hours yesterday, just visiting family out of town, right? And that
Uh-huh.
was my first ever like out of house experience in I want to say like 10 months or something. So I'm
Oh
very high
wow.
right now, like in a high. And I also had 3 cups of coffee. So I feel like I can hear the air. Yes.
You can hear your hair growing, as they say.
Yes, I can hear things. And I think I want to reorganize the alphabet because trust me, it doesn't make sense. I need to re-alphabetize the alphabet. That's how I am. Thank you,
Oh
James, for
wow.
asking.
I mean, that's a very like psychedelic sort of like experience that you're having right now.
Yes.
I love it. So,
Coffee.
so yesterday was the first time you left sort of your house on a long sort of journey.
Yep.
Wow.
100%. Yeah.
Wow. And so, because whereabouts are you at the moment now then?
I'm in Warsaw,
Are you
but
in
my
Warsaw?
brother and father lives in a city called Wrocław, which is about 4 hours away in a
Right. Okay.
car. Yeah,
Okay.
so I just hopped in my car and drove, and yeah, that really resets your mind. I didn't realize how much like a car journey would reset my mind, but
Matt,
maybe after all these like groundhog days,
I
I just
literally
needed to.
I love driving. I'm in the countryside at the moment, like which is about 4 hours from London. I'm in literally in the middle of nowhere, so you have to drive. But I love
Where are you?
a place called Devon.
Oh,
Called,
of course I know Devon. Oh my God, my best
yeah.
friend lives in Devon.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Whereabouts in Devon? Do
I
you
don't
know?
know exactly whereabouts, but she just had a studio built down there, right by the. I'm like, what the
A
hell? Like,
studio,
why do we live?
as in a photography studio.
No, she's a fashion designer, so she shares it with her. He's actually a podcaster too. Like, maybe you know,
Wow. Yeah.
maybe do you know everyone in Devon?
Yeah. It's a very small. Well, actually, it's a very small community of people who
Mm.
are creative. I mean, there's a sort of funny joke that if you escape Devon as a creative,
Uh-huh.
you're one of the lucky ones because
Oh,
because Devon sucks
interesting.
you up. It just because it's so beautiful and
Uh-huh.
there isn't
Mm.
that much like creativity down there. And if you want to be like
Mm.
a good creative and you want to do like great things, you sort of have to leave the
How about
nest.
I move to Devon?
You can come to Devon. You can come,
Yes,
but
let's make it the new shortage.
there. But the funny thing is, though, someone recently said to me, it was like, "There's a creative agency down in my hometown in Plymouth, right?" And I was, and they
Uh-huh.
work for like really big brands, right? And I've never heard
Uh-huh.
of a creative agency to work in
Uh-huh.
Plymouth, which is a very
Uh-huh.
or Plympton, which is a very small village. And so I've now
Uh-huh.
Googled this place, and my determination is to find out who these people are who run this agency because I'm like, I've
Uh-huh.
never heard of a creative agency who has clients like Disney and all that sort of thing living in my
Wow.
hometown.
Yeah.
It's unheard of.
Damn. That's amazing, though. I feel like you're also doing something great in your hometown. So don't discount yourself
This
because
is very
I
true.
feel
This is
like
very
right
true.
now there's a distribution of like talent and wealth into these smaller cities
This is
and
true.
towns or hamlets.
This is
I
true.
love it.
Everyone, the things, some of my friends, I'm sure you as well, who've left the big cities, London, like New
Mm,
York and LA,
mm,
and have gone to these
mm,
places, and now they're
mm,
just basically working remotely, and they've understood and they reflected, going, well, why are we paying this much to be in this flat when we
yeah,
could be in like
yep,
Margate or like Brighton, do the same thing
exactly.
work wise, and then just commute if we need to commute when life comes back up together.
Exactly, yeah. And then you just realize, like, yeah, this could have been an email. This meeting could have been an email. And then
Yeah,
now where I'm at the point where this Zoom call could have been an email.
I know. I don't know about you, but I've had experiences where like I'm like, let's set up a Zoom call, and someone's going, no, please, can we not do a Zoom call? Can we do a phone call? And I'm like,
Oh, I
oh,
love that.
I,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
it's only happened to me twice now, and I've done
Uh-huh.
thousands of Zoom calls now, and like it's only happened
Uh-huh.
twice to me that they didn't want to do a Zoom call, they wanted to do a phone call, and I was like, Yeah, I mean, I don't see the difference, but if you...
They clearly didn't wake up with lipstick on.
Yeah, so is that people who are listening? So when we started the podcast, she was like, "Oh, we're gonna do the thing," and I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Are you wearing lipstick?" She was like, "Yeah, I did it a walk before coming out of bed," and I was like, "Hey, look, I mean, that's really, really handy if you want to just jump out of bed and go straight to a podcast."
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Hello world.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm wearing downstairs? You don't. I'm not gonna stand up for your benefit because I'm not wearing any.
Don't worry. Yeah, I'm wearing Love Island Speedos. Don't worry, it's fine.
Love it. I love it. This is the way forward.
This is the way forward, isn't it? Like up the top is really good, and then down bottom, no one knows. It's a mystery.
Exactly. So James, this podcast could have been an email.
This could have been an email. So what I want to know is, we could ramble on and this could go on forever, but I would love to know more about you. Like, what is your background? Where did you start? Because you've had an amazing career, and I loved the entrepreneurial and the hard work and the ambition. So I'd love to know where it all started.
Okay. I mean, okay, there was definitely a point of where it started, because it was back in November 2008. It was a stormy night. No, I was in my second year of uni in London. 2 days before a deadline. I hadn't even started this project. It was meant to be like a weeks long project, and I hadn't even started. It was 2 days before the deadline, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna open a blog. And I did an all-nighter. I opened a blog, I coded it, I designed it, whatever, myself. I had lots of blogs at that point. Like I worked as a web designer since I was 17. I had like Christina Aguilera blogs, you know, things like that. So opening a blog was sort of like a survival instinct for me.
But was it like newish? Like the blog world was new, I'm assuming. Or was it still...
The fashion blog world was really new. Like there were maybe like Susie Bubble, Brian Boy, maybe 10 people.
Right, okay, yeah.
And I had, we've been following, and it was kind of like, it started in Sweden. So it would mostly be like look based, if you know what I mean. Like it was all about like outfits. Yeah. And then Susie started blogging, and it was all about talking about her experiences, etc. And I'm like, I can do this. Yeah. So I opened it. I was 21 or something, like a total baby, also very stupid. Opened it. That's where it kind of started.
And so where that's it. That's my life. So from the blog, how did you then start your company then?
Okay, so that's like a 10, 12-year journey. Is that a notification on your end?
No, that's someone else's phone. I don't know why. My phone's off.
Goodness.
I know.
Turn it off.
I know. We got.
I'm talking.
This is the thing. This is the thing with society now, and like, oh well, there's so many devices now. You think you do one of them, you're like, okay, brilliant, but then you got 8 different ones around you. Like, I've got to turn 8 different devices off.
Yeah, like the microwave is smart now. I'm like, why do you need to be smart? You just need to
do you know, I've seen microwaves that you can say microwave on and it turns on.
Oh no, why?
Yeah, everything. Well, even like Amazon's bought a lot of kind of like voice activated companies, and especially the driverless ones. And so we all know, I mean, I think you're silly if you don't think but everything is going to be voice activated in the future. So that's gonna be amazing. You'll be like, oh, okay, stove on, heating off, like all this sort of thing. You're just gonna be talking to everything.
But what happens when you don't feel like talking? Like,
what happens if you don't have a voice? That's the first thing.
That's true. That's very true. Look at you being political here.
Anyway,
that's true.
Go back to your company, because I think we're gonna go on a different tangent, and I would love to know.
Segue.
Yeah. So go back to your company. So it was a 10 kind of like 12-year of journey. How did the company come about?
Yeah. So 10, 12-year journey. In the beginning, I never wished to monetize. You couldn't even monetize the blog back then. It was 2008. Nobody really had a blog. They were all on LiveJournal and such. But I started posting these DIY fashion tutorials, and it kind of went viral. And by viral, I mean more than 5 people looked at my blog.
Mm-hmm.
So it went from five readers to something like 500. So I'm just like, okay, so maybe I'll do this for a while. And then that kind of like led to buying a new camera. I had been photographing before then, so I bought a new camera, which means you're photographing more, etc. So it just kind of one thing led to another.
Mm-hmm.
And funnily enough, my first ever press trip was with Chanel.
Wow, cash.
Super cash. Yeah, super cash. She's like, they were like, oh, we want to take you to Paris. And you're just like, I'm 21. Nobody takes me anywhere. No, they don't even take me to Tesco. Like, oh, Paris?
How did that come
like,
about though? Did you email them or did they find your blog?
No. They found my blog because I've been photographing. Like I was just doing everything with it.
Oh my God.
It was just curiosity.
Sorry, all these devices are going mental at the moment. What is going on?
This is crazy.
This is crazy. What's going on? Can someone turn that device off?
Do you live in
Can we turn that device off? Thank you very much. It's turned off. Sorry, carry on. Crazy. Sorry, Karen. So you're really interrupted. They saw your blog for Chanel, and then they invited you out to go to Paris. Right? Carry on. Sorry about that.
Yeah. And it wasn't paid or anything. There was no notion of paying anyone for anything back then. But that kind of like kickstarted everything. So after Chanel, it would be YSL. It was Yves Saint Laurent back then, before Saint Laurent became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Paris, and it was at a certain point I went to Paris like 3-4 times a month as a 22-year-old with like a uni. Like I went to uni, but basically it was just this like weird dual lifestyle. But then we started understanding, I say we, but it's just me and myself. I started understanding there is some sort of currency to content, I suppose. So it just kept getting better. I shot more, but I also designed the blog posts more, etc. And then at some point, companies started coming to me and said, "Can we like take your face out, but can you do this content for us?"
Oh,
so
that was the shift. That was the shift.
That was the big shift. Yeah, where it was like, oh, I understand. And this was really new back then, because I think people didn't understand what blogging is or influencers back then, but they had kind of seen through it. So these were really like forward-thinking people, if you know what I mean. Because even now you don't have these people. A lot of brands still think influencers are these girls that take selfies in front of mirrors with shampoo bottles and stuff. But behind it all, they're all sort of entrepreneurs. They have different talents. They might be a biologist or an architect or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
But marrying those two, you can really tap into a lot of potential. So imagine if a blogger is an architect.
But I think this is the conversation that I'm really interested in doing. Was it kind of that's two separate conversations. It's going. There is a difference between an influencer and a content creator. I think, but then there's also that kind of conversation going. If you're an influencer, right, and you have this architectural background, let's as a brand, let's merge that and make something totally fresh and totally new. That because I'm really fascinated with different platforms and different talents that combine to make something new. Like what would happen if you got David Hockney and Billie Eilish and Fendi to do a collaboration? Like what would that look like? Exactly. So, or like architecture, like what would happen? So I think it'd be really great for these brands to really kind of harness these influences and even what they're studying, like even if they're studying like psychology, like what does that look like?
Exactly. I mean, imagine the diverse possibility, like all of these rich patchwork of different characteristics and professionalism and all of these coming together and making something completely new. And I think this notion is it's still not common, James. It's still it's very linear. People think that influencers need to sell products, but that's actually not the case. So my company was founded on this, where someone or a group of people that worked in brands had seen this, that I'm not just an influencer, I'm a photographer and a web designer, a graphic designer, whatever. And they said, hey, actually, can you give it for us? Like, can you do white card services for us? So that's how Cube Collective was founded. That was 2015, so like 6 years ago.
And the name Cube Collective, where did that come from?
Well, Park and Cube was the blog. So
Right.
Cube Collective, yeah, in the beginning, I sort of wanted it to be an artist's sort of collective. But when I say artists, I mean like sort of digital content artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. People who are super fluent in digital. Yeah. So it was a collective, and we had loads of people like illustrators and different photographers and theaters and dance theater majors and dancers and things like that. So we would sort of merge different puzzle pieces to make interesting combos for brands. So we would, yeah, so
Wow.
provide these services.
That's so cool. So, and obviously that was kind of like I think around that time that was still relatively new to be delivering, and it's still quite new as well. This sort of like cross collaboration sort of thing where we're harnessing multiple different talents, and it's even more in fashion brands now that they're really utilizing performance, like fashion brands and brands are really utilizing people's voices in dance and theater and stuff. So now it's like entertainment. It can't just be I think there's definitely been a shift from a showcase to going, this is what we do, to now entertaining audiences via like circus and dance and theater and stuff. And you can see this all in the fashion shows and the way that they do their campaigns now.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the birth of context, which is funny. Why didn't context exist before? But you know, products used to just be marketplace stuff like, oh, this is a water bottle. Please buy it because it's a good water bottle. No, now it's all about the context around it. You're selling the lifestyle, you're selling the reason, but also a potential sort of, you know, aspiration, if you know what I mean. Like you're providing seeds for people's experience with the product instead of just the product. So now it's interesting where if you want to start a brand, it's quite hard because you do need to, you know, guarantee quality of your product, but you also need to guarantee the quality of the context around the product.
The world that you're building. Yeah, but then it goes back to that being limitless, because obviously like the context of how I use the bottle is the different context to someone how else they use their bottle, and so it can be transported in any sort of situation.
Yeah, but I'd love to see how Billie Eilish would use this bottle. You know,
do you know what I mean?
Like it's infinite. Yeah,
there's infinite, but for me there's now infinite kind of possibilities creatively, because it can be like you can deform it. You don't have to be presented it as what it is. Like, this is a water bottle. It could be like it could be like, for if it's made from wood, like you could like start with a tree and then the tree kind of disintegrates and then suddenly all the tree comes back together and it forms a water bottle. Like, there's so many different ways of like just being really creative and go, actually we don't just have to sell the water bottle, but we can now sell the purpose and how we use it.
Exactly, which is sort of not centuries, but decades old advertising. That just advertising in essence. So we've kind of embedded advertising into our bodies through the rise of social media and all of that, which is a bit scary and sad. But
yeah. So it's safe to say then it's been like a long journey for you. It hasn't been like an overnight success.
It hasn't been either, to be honest, because it definitely hasn't been an overnight success, but it feels like it in some way. But also it hasn't been that long of a journey because it's still been, I want to say it's less than 10 years for all of this shift to come about, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was like always around the corner, something was different. Like Instagram would, you know, update their app and it would be like a whole other culture around the corner. So for me, always there's something, just around the corner that you can't really plan around. So when I work with my clients, I tell them, don't plan 6 months ahead, plan 6 weeks ahead, because 6 months ahead, you might have an entirely different culture that you need to cater to.
Well, yeah, like
Instagram
the whole
stories, like
Instagram stories, NFTs now. TikTok is totally shifting and going into long form now as well. I think they did a collaborate. They're doing a partnership with that Samsung or something. So it like even like after like 6 weeks, think something new could, and Clubhouse as well. Clubhouse is a massive one. That's really growing. I don't know how people monetize that and stuff at the moment. It's still very new. And to take that audience from sorry, go.
No. I just wanted to say I wish the monetization of Clubhouse comes a little later, because I just feel like everything is being monetized now. Like, stop. The innocence of it all.
Well, and just let it be. Let it do its thing rather than go, how do we make money out of it?
Yeah, the thing is, you know, like just like Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, you sort of see the ads, but it doesn't really interfere much with your usage of the app.
Yeah.
In a way, like it demands sort of attention every couple slides or whatever. But I just don't want Clubhouse to be like, oh, you gotta, like an OnlyFans account, like, oh, you gotta pay $3 to get into this room where Elon Musk is talking. I'm like,
oh,
no,
yeah.
I don't want that. Like, I just want some normal innocence, something that is born of, a little bit of, like things just mature over time. I just want it to mature over time.
You basically just want a free Elon Musk conversation without paying for it. That basically is what it is.
Did you know Mark Zuckerberg was in Clubhouse yesterday?
No. How did he? I wonder who set it up. 3,000.
8,000.
8,000. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, 8,000, and I couldn't even get in. It was like, oh, the room is full right now. Please try later. I'm like, I
wonder who set that up.
Yeah, I wonder as well. Yeah.
Be interesting.
Yeah,
I did on a separate note. I did email Elon Musk randomly about a year ago.
Nice. Did he reply?
No, he didn't. Unfortunately. But
of course not. You should tweet at him though.
I know. I got his email from a friend of mine, and I was like, I'm just going to email Elon Musk and see some. And no, I didn't get anything. But
what you should do though?
What should I do? I should tweet him.
No. If you're ever getting married, you should send your wedding invitation. Are you married?
No, unfortunately not.
No.
No.
Sorry, this isn't like a way. Like, are you single?
Are you single?
Apparently, you should send your wedding invitations to as many billionaires you can find.
Right.
Because their assistants don't actually know if he knows you, so they'll send you a really lavish gift anyway.
No way. Is that true?
That's like a little hack.
How do you know that?
I've never tried.
I'm sure.
It sort of does make sense, right? At least you'll get flowers, which is like, free flowers.
Is it? I don't know, but but I'm sure that the person would know if they know you, would they not?
Yeah, but like to have his address or whatever, to successfully get this wedding invitation, it's like a wedding invitation, like personal wedding invitation.
Yeah. Actually, Elon. To be fair, I mean, you got to be quite bold though to be like, I don't really know you, but here's a wedding invitation.
No,
pretending
you don't say
that.
You just be like, oh, we met and we're really good pals. But
do you know what I mean? Because it's a bold move anyway. Even if you don't know the person, to be like, oh, I'm gonna pretend that I know the person, so I'm gonna send you a wedding. Because
exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Good life hack. Good life hack.
Mm-hmm.
Life hack. I think. Maybe in a couple of years, whenever I'm married, I don't know. Maybe in 10 years' time or 5 years, I don't know.
Please do a podcast with yourself if you ever succeed in that.
Could you imagine? I love it. I love that. So what I'd love to know is as well, like within this world of social media and brands and content, there's, again, what you're saying, there's always something round the corner. There's always something new happening. How do you balance your kind of mental well-being and not be on sort of like high anxiety sort of, because it is quite fast paced, and I know we slowed down quite a lot over lockdown and we've reflected quite a lot, but maybe even before that, how do you find that kind of wellness? Because obviously there's so much mental illness over social media, because it is, if you use it incorrectly, I feel it can be very damaging. And I've got better at knowing my triggers and go, okay, well, if I go down that rabbit hole, I know it's not very good for me, so I just don't do that. How do you work? How do you find it?
Well, it's definitely debilitating for sure. I think I don't know a single person who's gotten around that kind of depression that you get from the lack of that dopamine hit from having a social account and all these interactions and then not having it after a while. But I think I personally kind of approach it, and do you know that book, and can I swear?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have a nice jingle that you can put over my, anyway.
Okay.
You know the book, what is it called? Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck
by Mark. I was literally listening to him just before we did this podcast.
Nice. Yeah. So
he's got a YouTube channel. Yeah.
Does he now? I don't realize.
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel.
Is it like a TED Talk or? I need to listen.
It's just like random. I think he just picks random things from his book and then does like a little like section on it. But it's always quite he's quite eccentric though. Like I mean the book is quite eccentric anyway, but he's really eccentric. Like well, I was watching this 3-minute like section of him basically saying, what do you do when you feel procrastinated? And he was like, just do shit. And it was a simple thing. And he was like, oh, I just did shit. So I read this book and now I'm cleaning the toilet every single day and I'm just doing shit. So it's fun. It's quite comical.
He's literally doing shit.
Yeah, he's doing shit. Like I think it's like a play on the fucking shit. I think maybe.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I mean, you read this book because it is a very good book. I highly rate it as well.
Not to like dissect his philosophy or anything, but just in a broad sense of things, you need to give less fucks because at the end of the day, it's all about giving way too much fucks.
Yeah. In
social media. Yeah, and I got so jaded at some point because I had been there since like, I guess they consider me a generation 1.5 or 2 because I had come just after the first generation, which is like Susie Bubbles and all that. I had been there for like Instagram 2011, I think I signed up. So it's been 10 years on Instagram. I am jaded as fuck. Like jaded. So, but I had a point where I was like super down and you can really see it on my Instagram. Like all my images were really dark as well. Like I was so sick of it all. Yeah. And back then it was all about pink skies and HDR images. So I was just like, oh, F this shit. Like I'm just going to post something that's really dark. Yeah. Not dark as in like gore or anything, but just, I just wanted to do something that they didn't do. Yeah. But it was definitely going a little bit against it's just being a hipster. I'm sure you know what I mean. James, right? Yeah. We're all hipsters.
The rebels in us.
Exactly, the rebels in us. But that helped me open Cubicle. That Cubicle was my way of just slowing down the internet just a little bit. Like it was just, everything was just too fast paced, but also it was all bite sized. When you go to an event and you have canapes.
I do know because I'm the person sitting by the door waiting for them. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But you get full on it because you eat every single time they come out the door. But you get full on it and you're like, what did I eat? Like, what's the nutritional value in the thing that I ate, right?
It depends on where you go. I mean, I remember because I went to what's that Japanese sushi restaurant in Liverpool Street.
Oh my God, yeah.
What's that one? Really famous one. I went to the opening of Sushi Samba in Covent Garden.
Nice.
And I mean those canapes were pretty good. So I'm not gonna lie. It depends on where you go.
Awesome. Yeah. You need to get full on those ones.
Yeah, I did.
Those down waiting.
I did, and then I was eating, and then Vivian Westwood came up, and I was her friend, about someone that she works with, that I worked on a job with, and I was like eating this food, and I was like, oh no, Vivian. It's going towards me, and I was like eating this food. I was like, no, quickly. And then after that, I was like, and because there were so many people that I knew there, I was like, I had enough food. I was like, get it all in, and I won't touch it anymore because I don't want to be in a situation where I'm like literally stuff in my face, and then someone's coming towards me that I need to like talk to or need to like address or whatever. So. But
Did you talk to her, or was she coming towards the food?
She wasn't coming towards me. She doesn't know me. No, her friend. I knew her friend, but she was with her friend, and they were just coming towards me, and she was like, "Hey, Jamie," not Vivian. Her friend was like, "Hey, Vivian." So, yeah, it was one of those things, that sort of things. Definitely don't know Vivian Westwood. Just put out there. I do not know Vivian Westwood.
No, but she would remember you if you were like, "Hey, I love your shit." Do you know what I mean?
To be fair, that hasn't happened before, but that is probably my worst nightmare because I am that person at the party that literally will go for the food first. And all my friends know this, that I literally go to the party and I find where the food is coming from and I linger around there, get full, and then do my sort of like schmoozing and talking to people and stuff. But I'd have to be fed first. I have to be.
Priorities, right?
It is priorities. So
I look for the dog.
Say again?
I look for the dog that's in the back.
The dog?
Like in the back room. Like, yeah.
What? So like an actual live dog?
Like a house party?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And they got a dog. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love a good Frenchie. That's me. Oh, man. Frenchies get me going.
Food. One day. Pets.
Do you have any pets?
No, I don't have any pets. I need a dog, but yeah.
Maybe it's time now though. We're in lockdown. Maybe this is the right time to have one.
Separation anxiety though is something I'm worried about.
What do you mean separation?
After it's all over.
Oh,
when it's all over and I have to travel again, or.
Oh, right, okay. But can you not take a dog traveling? No.
Probably not a German Shepherd.
Oh, probably. But well, because if it was an emotional, what do you call it? No, emotional dog. What do you call it?
That's such a hack. That's a life hack. Thank you. Okay, you're totally right.
Because I've got friends who do that with their Frenchies. I mean, they're obviously they're small dogs, but they call them emotional dogs or whatever, and so they just literally ride with.
What kind of dog is not an emotional support animal?
That's what I mean. I mean, but also like. Maybe I am incorrect in saying this, but I heard recently that if you are dyslexic or you have depression, it is now classed as a disability. So that means, so this is what someone told me recently, and probably might be incorrect, but that means that millions of people now are technically disabled.
Yeah.
Technically, because loads of people suffer from mental illness, and you can't really like see mental illness, but you know it obviously it's there. So it means that millions of people could potentially now have these dogs on as an emotional support animal because they're technically disabled now.
Well, that's the way around the system, James. Are you going to get a dog now?
Oh, I wish, because no, my thing is like you as well, the travel thing. But yeah, I think it would be. That was my reason not to have a dog, because I used to, before COVID, I used to travel quite a lot.
Yeah.
But
me too. I don't know.
Yeah, anyway. But you know what? I always said though, before I got a dog, I'd have to be married. That was my thing.
Right, interesting. Yeah. Oh, I'm learning a lot about you. Yeah,
I know.
Because your
I think it's amazing because dogs are like babies, right? They need a lot of attention, right? And I've always believed that you need like a power couple sort of, or couple situation to look after it. When you can't look after it, it goes to your partner rather than going to like a dog sitter or like a babysitter, that sort of thing. So I've always said, I'd rather wait until I'm like in a very committed thing before I brought a dog into the world.
That's very, it's very conscious. It's a sustainable, pet relationship.
Yeah, literally, because it's just important. There's so many people who have their dogs and they leave them at home for a long time and they go to work, and I just don't really want to be in that situation. I'd rather someone be there that I know and they know and they're recognizable and that sort of thing. So
at least you're in Devon, so
I know. Oh man, Devon, like Devon has one of the highest rates for dog kidnappers.
Oh no, are you serious?
Yeah, we have a lot of dogs getting kidnapped over here. They I don't know, because there's because we're in the countryside and there's so many people who have dogs here, but so many people steal them. So many.
For what reason though?
I actually was talking to a friend of mine. I was on my usual kind of nature walk yesterday because I live by lots of national parks sort of here by my house, and these ones have loads of dogs there. And I was saying to my friend on the phone yesterday, I was like, I wonder why people take them, and because a lot of them are quite expensive. Well, some of them are quite expensive down here, like maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and so they either might like take them and sell them, or you take them for their own kind of benefit. So it's one of the two. But there's a lot of dogs down here that get taken, and I'm on like a local group, like a community
a dog watch group.
No, like there's an app called something local, and you can connect in your community, and it basically is like people message it on going, I need a plumber in my area, and you can go.
Okay.
But recently, but quite a while, for the last probably year now, there's been loads of people posting going, my dog's gone missing, and there's just loads of dogs being taken.
Yeah, apparently the pandemic has like increased the demand for dogs, but also like really rare dogs. I was living in Copenhagen, and people would just come up to my friend and ask, is this your dog? Like she had a Shiba Inu, and you know how those are really expensive dogs. And he's like, oh, is this your dog? Like, be careful, because people steal this dog for sure these days, especially. So now she doesn't really take it out to, you know how you like tie dogs outside supermarkets?
Yeah,
She
I would
doesn't
never
take
do that.
the dog out anymore.
I would never do that. I wouldn't leave outside.
Yeah.
It's like leaving a bike out. I mean, I find I get anxious when people leave bikes in like Hackney and stuff, and I'm like, why would you leave it in Hackney? Like, it's going to be taken.
Yeah, no, and you'll find it in Brick Lane. Like, you'll have to buy it back.
Exactly.
We need a guard dog for dogs now. Like,
you need another dog now to guard your dog.
Exactly. It's all being meta. Like, I love how meta it is.
It is. So as we come to a close of like our episode, what we love to do at 360, we like to ask like a give back to our audience. And so I tell people this before our episode starts, just so they can think, so they're not like being thrown something. But what would be your thing that we'd give back to, one, to your younger self, or to someone that's listening, that has inspired you? It might be like a book, or might be like a mantra. It might be like, I do yoga every morning. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, shut up. For me, I think I probably tell myself, I mean, okay, shut up to, no offense to those who do yoga, but I just had 3 cups of coffee and it's not even 10 a.m. here. I mean, wait, it is 10 a.m.
It's 10, yes, 10 there, yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely not my lifestyle, but I guess my mantra would be like, be stupid, but don't post about it.
I love that.
Don't like, imagine, James, I think you and I are sort of in the similar, like, I think you might be a little younger than me, but did you have Twitter when you were 13?
Did I have Twitter? Maybe I have it now, but I don't really use it. So I probably had it because it was the thing. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, so I had Twitter. Yeah.
Right. I didn't have Twitter when I was 13, and I'm so happy about it. Because
I probably had Bebo.
How stupid would that have been?
I think I had Bebo on MySpace probably back then.
Yeah, exactly. It was MySpace. But basically,
MySpace.
I think you should be stupid. You should do all your mistakes. You should make mistakes because you learn so much from mistakes. I think there's so much to being you can't be a perfectionist all the time. You have to make mistakes. You have to put yourself out there, but just don't post about it.
I know. I think we've lost that sort of ability to fail nowadays because everything has been recorded.
Good conclusion, James.
Yeah, it's just like, and I love that there's a book called Fail, Fail, Fail Again. And I don't mind failing something because I like to learn from my failures, and then I do better next time. And I always remember my failures, and I've had lots and lots of failures. And I always reflect on these going, okay, well, I understand why that didn't work. Okay, that's fine. But at least I went there and I tried to go. And I was watching Jobs yesterday, which is Ashton Kutcher, which is about Steve Jobs. And there's a great line in it. And he said, if we're not willing to like fail to get better, we're just being mediocre. We're just doing a Me Too, as in like, we're just basically, not Me Too as in like the movement, but as a Me Too because Intel at the time or Microsoft was copying what's it called, Apple at the time. And he was like, oh, I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. And you need to be able to just push the limits and to go into fail and be stupid and just to fine. But there's that thing of like the lack of being stupid because you want to show face. You want to look like you know what you're doing rather than actually trying to get that dunk in that net, but you can't get it like 20 times. And then that 21st time you can do, but everyone else is just like not doing
20 times how you don't.
Exactly. But everyone else is afraid to try to do that dunk because they don't want to fall flat on their face. And it's just like, because someone's going to capture it on Instagram. And that's what generally will happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I get that. But it's like, it's a bit like, I mean, why do we complain about imposter syndrome? If
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I honestly
you can't fluff yourself up without having built all that rapport with yourself.
Yeah. I don't know.
Then you're going to get imposter syndrome.
I've never had imposter syndrome. I've never felt it.
I've had it in different settings. I think it's very like, it's dependent on society. I guess it's like the moment and who you're with. Yeah, but basically it's not, I mean, the easiest way to come out of an imposter syndrome like state is to rely on something that you know the most of, whether it's walking a dog or whatever. You just kind of bring yourself back into that mindset where you're like, I know inside and out about the Shiba Inu breed or something, just bring that conversation back around. Whether it makes sense or not, you kind of like gain that confidence back, because that's the one thing that you do know like the hell out of. So I think that's definitely something, I would tell my younger self. And also not to bleach your hair.
Oh, really? Not to bleach the hair?
I mean, shit like that, don't worry about don't worry about fitting in.
Oh yeah, don't fit in. Be an outsider, be a rebel. That's what we need to be. We all need to be a bit more rebellious.
Exactly.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for coming on 360 yourself. It's been absolutely a pleasure, and you've just injected me with such energy this morning. It's been great. You're so infectious.
I hope you'll help me re-alphabetize
and go on your trip with you.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go on a trip.
I know. Well, I want to say thank you so much for coming and taking time to be with us.
Of course. Thank you so much, James. This has been incredibly sort of, insightful as well. I feel like I haven't really spoken to someone that is sort of on the same wavelength for a while now.
Brilliant. Well, it's been great for me, and I'm hoping, and I know people listening will take a lot from this away.
Be stupid, listeners. Be stupid.